So
and this is true about everything, not just like, let's say, human interaction stories, but even normal categories of being. Like I always use the example of a cup. So there's an identity of a cup, like there's an invisible pattern of a cup. And then there are examples of cups in the world. And there are some examples that are like, is it a cup? Is it a glass? It's in between. It's kind of on the fringe of what a cup can be. And that's totally fine. As long as you can see that it's kind of a monster cup, then it has its role in the world. It's fine for it to be there. Like it's also fine for the monsters to exist. They're inevitable in how the world lays itself out. The problem is when the monster tries to take the throne, right? The problem is when the monster tries to get into the altar. That's the problem. It's not that there are monsters out there and that there are things that don't fit into categories. Those are normally there and that you can't get rid of them. The problem we have now is that it's like we're in. The monsters have come into they're coming in and they're trying to take the throne, and it's not good for the monsters either, which is something that a lot of the monsters don't understand, because you're not going to like it there. It's because your whole idea is to not be normative. If you're not normative, why would you want to take the normality? It's going to not be good to you.
I find that really interesting, actually. It's a really good way of framing it, because you're essentially setting the entire hierarchy on its head and putting the thing that should be the furthest from being in charge. And so that's going to change the nature of everything. Any justifying or legitimating structures that you had are going to suddenly have to change. They're going to become illegitimate. Things are going to be completely different. And
I always talk about the idea that you have to leave a margin. And you see that in scripture all over the place, where they talk about the fringe of the vestment. You have to have a fringe on the edge of something. You have to leave it a little bit wild. You have to leave the corners of your field. Don't plow all the field. You need to leave the corners of your field for the foreigners. And it's all related to this. You have to leave a little bit of space for chaos. And if you try to encompass everything, then chaos comes back with a baseball bat. Like, wow, we're done with this. And then the whole world turns into a carnival. One of the reasons why our world is turned into a carnival is because of modernism. It's because the Enlightenment thought that it could encompass everything, that the world of science thought that it could completely fill up all knowledge and all understanding. But that's not true. There's always a buffer. There's always a margin. There's always a residue. There's always a remainder. You can't get rid of it. And so because they pushed so hard to stop this, it flipped back, and now everything is remainder. Everything is residue. Everything is carnival, right? And so we need to be careful, because as traditional Christians, we see, let's say, these images of these chaotic things, and we might feel a little disgusted by it because we're so surrounded by it that we're like, no, we're going to be traditional Christians. We have order. We're going to have prayer. We're going to have we're going to have these hours and everything. We're going to follow the calendar and all of this, and it's important. But the traditional Christians did celebrate Mardi Gras, right? The traditional Christians did celebrate these Feast of Fools because it's part of reality, right? You just need things to be in their proper place and need in their proper measure, right? That's how you know that the world is working. You want ornaments on the outside of the church, but you don't. Or you want ornaments, but you don't. It's like you eat something, you can have spice on it, but you don't eat spice, right? You don't just shovel spice into your mouth, and you also don't do the same with ornaments. You have ornaments that decorate a building, but it's a decoration. The whole building can't be ornament, right? Can't be this fringe, right? So I think that's done with those questions. I hope this was useful for people. Thanks for coming.